Introductions are the backbone of every great piece of fiction. It's the first thing that any great show, book, movie, or play throws out to initially grab the audience's attention. Without the introduction, there is no structure and there is absolutely no conclusion. It is used to set the tone and captivate the people who are viewing the story to which that introduction has been written. However, the introduction can also be the most difficult thing to get right. If not handled correctly, the introduction to a piece of work can lead to said work's immediate downfall. So, how does one write the perfect introduction? Is such a feat even possible? Even right now, I as a creator am trying to captivate you, the audience, with my introductory statements. Well, I do believe that there is a perfect introduction to a story. And if not obvious, that story is none other than Kohei Horikoshi's My Hero Academia. As much as I would love to do a full deep dive into the entire shonen's genius, today I want to talk about what I believe is the greatest part of My Hero, its incredible introduction. To me, there is something so special about My Hero's introduction. Everything about it. The animation, the score, the storytelling, the characters, they all just immediately immerse you into this thriving world. I have so many things to say, and I'm going to do just that. So without any further ado, let me tell you why I believe My Hero Academia has the perfect introduction.
Booyah! I am here as a projection now!
My Hero is a story that has so many great aspects to it. Its characters, the plot, the world building, the writing, and countless others. But there is one section of the story where all of these things and more are executed to perfection. The introduction to Kohei Horikoshi's My Hero Academia is brilliant on so many different levels, but to begin we must talk about the characters who shaped that introduction and subsequently the world they exist in. To be specific, I'm talking about our big three players, Izuku Midoriya, Katsuki Bakugo, and Toshinori Yagi, or as he's most commonly known as, All Might. These three are the most important pieces of the introduction, as they serve as the outlets for the audience to experience the world that they've been plunged into. However, you could argue that each story, anime in specific, features this main core of three characters: the protagonist, the deuteragonist, and the mentor. So, how does My Hero stand out amongst the rest? I believe it's the way Mr. Horikoshi does two things in specific. Number one, the way he constructs the relationships between All Might and Midoriya, and number two, the way he sets up Deku and Bakugo's relationship with each other. As soon as the show starts, we are shown Deku's passion for heroism, the main theme of the entire manga, and his clear aptitude for critical analysis. In only the first scene, we can derive two of the most important aspects of Deku's character and immediately start to feel connected to him as a main protagonist. This is then followed up immediately with an insight into Bakugo's character. It's very clear Horikoshi wanted the audience to respect both Deku and Bakugo as the two main leads. Usually, in these Shōnen Anime, the main character steals the entire show and the deuteragonist is given the straps. Of course, there are exceptions like Sasuke from Naruto and arguably Vegeta from Dragon Ball. But Horikoshi makes sure to make the audience aware of Deku and Bakugo's existing relationship and centers part of his introduction around this relationship. Horikoshi making Bakugo really unlikable in the beginning of the manga also perfectly sets him up for great character redemption. It's an extremely smart way of investing into a character early, knowing that it's going to take some time to build him up into a more likable co-lead. Deku and Bakugo are immediately out of the gate two perfect co-leads in my eyes. Give the main protagonist a rival who we want to see lose to said main protagonist. Bakugo being unlikable makes you like Deku more and gets you emotionally invested into his story. I mean, when I first watched My Hero, I absolutely hated Bakugo. How could you not? He was bullying Deku and just being an ass. I mean, come on, who wouldn't hate that? But I was hooked on seeing how Deku would rise above this adversity and conquer his childhood bully. However, the Midoriya and Bakugo relationship was only one half of the puzzle I laid out earlier. To truly understand why this introduction is so great, we must also examine Deku's relationship with All Might and his aspirations to become like his hero. Midoriya is born a normal boy in a superhuman world who could never stand up to someone like Bakugo. He is born quirkless and supposedly destined to fail at reaching the heights he once aspired to reach as a child. Deku started his journey timid and weak, a boy placed into the wrong clutches of fate, destined to fade away into history as nothing but another quirkless human. But despite these clear downsides, Deku still believes in his dream. No matter what, Midoriya will become like his hero, All Might. Unfortunately, in this meta-human world, the powerless are just that, powerless and nothing more. You know that saying, never meet your heroes? Well, to some extent, it holds true for Deku's story too. Walking home from school, Deku is attacked by a sludge monster who has the intent of stealing his body. Defenseless and scared for his life, Midoriya attempts to run away but is caught. His life flashing before his eyes, Deku calls for help. And boom! The symbol of peace. My bad. All Might's just really cool. Defeating the villain in one mighty blow, All Might saves the day and is met with his #1 fanboy. He signs Midoriya's notebook and leaps back into the air to take the sludge villain in. But Deku latches himself on to All Might's pants and flies through the air with him. This perfectly showcases our protagonist's passion and love for his hero, as we see him willing to face imminent danger just to ask a question. This very much also confirms how important Deku's dream is to him. He is so determined to get All Might to answer his lifelong query that he willingly risks himself. Here Midoriya is faced with the man who shaped his dreams and holds the potential answer to his lifelong question. However, out of nowhere, All Might suddenly transforms into a shriveled up weak husk. If faced with any other person, All Might most definitely would have been met with a look of disappointment and disgust. But Deku is shocked for only a moment and listens to why his hero has taken up this weak form. He listens to All Might because he doesn't worship him solely because of his strength. Deku looks up to All Might because of the man he is, his pure character and unwavering heroism. His body changing and losing all its strength does not change the way Deku views All Might. I mean, why should it? Again, this little moment gives us an insight into Midoriya as a personality and what his ideals are compared to the rest of hero society. Finally, the time has come. When faced with his hero, Japan's #1 hero, and the unrivaled symbol of peace, All Might, Midoriya finally sees the opportunity to get an answer to his lifelong question.
Is it possible to become a hero even if I don't have a quirk? I'm a normal kid without any powers. Could I ever hope to be someone like you?
Deku idolized this man his entire life. First seeing All Might as a computer screen as a little boy, he had nothing but pure admiration for the symbol of peace.
He's the coolest in the universe!
Without a quirk?
Pro heroes are always having to risk their lives. Some villains just can't be beaten without powers. So no, I honestly don't think you could become a hero without a quirk.
Immense shock and pain flood into Deku's expression. His dreams have been shot, his reality utterly broken, and his world has been destroyed. Midoriya walks home, utterly defeated. How could he believe in his dream anymore? The one man who was the perfect embodiment of heroism shut down every single hope Deku had. That was it. But on his way back home, Deku noticed his path had been subconsciously altered. He'd walked around to the scene of a battle. Midoriya is so prone to studying the concept of heroism, his body subconsciously took him to where heroism was being put on display. Very subtle hints have been thrown out to the audience regarding Deku's natural heroic nature. Horikoshi has been expertly alluding to the viewer of Deku's innate heroism. And now, the time has come. An instinct forged within Midoriya's body that only a true hero may possess is put on display. Seeing his childhood friend and rival trapped in the clutches of the sludge villain, Deku thinks this situation is all his fault. If he didn't drag All Might down after latching onto his pants, the sludge villain wouldn't have gotten loose. Again, Horikoshi is drilling this idea of Deku being a true hero. He is understanding of his faults and feels shame and sorrow for being the reason the villain escaped. All Might expresses his feelings of weakness and believes he is the reason for the villain's escape, not Deku. Midoriya was just a wonderstruck fan. All Might was a pro-hero, and he failed to uphold his duty as such. The world's symbol of peace making such a silly mistake? I mean, who else could be to blame? As Deku and All Might watch from afar, all kinds of heroes surround the battle, with one goal: help Bakugo. But no one has the right power to do so. So, we have two characters both throwing the blame onto themselves in a hopeless situation. But which one enters the fray? Which one acts like a hero? The mighty symbol of peace, or a weak, timid, quirkless boy who was just told he couldn't be a hero? Leaping into the fire as soon as he sees Bakugo's helpless face, Deku runs at the sludge monster. It's stupid, right? Of course it's stupid. What chance would he ever have of even laying a scratch on this explosion-powered sludge villain? But isn't all hero work innately stupid in concept? Of course the act of saving lives and defeating people who pose a threat to those lives isn't stupid. But it's the matter of putting yourself in those situations. That is what's stupid and reckless. There is nothing to gain by throwing yourself in a dangerous situation just to be a hero. But that is why heroism is such a meaningful concept. When others won't act, there will always be one person who stupidly jumps into whatever dangerous situation is presented and function on pure heroic instinct alone. There are all these heroes around a dangerous villain, not willing to make that leap and save a dying boy. And then there is a powerless, weak, timid middle schooler jumping into the fires of battle simply because his body moved on its own. Deku's stupid, selfless, purely instinctive act of heroism is one of the greatest moments in fiction, and it is to me the greatest introduction to a series ever. Seeing this helpless boy, who he had just told could not be a hero, do something he wasn't going to do, All Might is inspired and realizes he's been acting like a coward. What kind of hero would he be if he simply let this brave, quirkless boy die doing his job? All Might leaps into the battle, grabbing Deku and admitting his faults to the boy. He winds up a punch and utterly annihilates the villain without destroying any of the surrounding and saving both the two boys. Although every other hero berates Midoriya for his recklessness, as they most definitely should, All Might compliments the boy and thanks him for clearing his skies. The sky being cleared by All Might's punch is once again another very subtle but masterful character moment placed in by Horikoshi. After the entire event, Deku walks back home and is met by Bakugo, who presents his fiery personality and claims that he didn't need Midoriya's help and that he owes him nothing. Horikoshi again intertwining Bakugo in the mix as an integral piece of Deku's character and story. Understanding that he didn't do anything to help and only cause more potential trouble, Deku doesn't respond to Bakugo and just accepts what he says. Suddenly, the boy is met with his idol once more, the symbol of peace, All Might. Standing right before him, Deku feels as if he's going to be berated further and is accepting of such a possible future. He did something stupid and shouldn't be praised for it. But he doesn't understand what his actions truly meant. Deku springing into action when no one else would, allowed All Might to remember what a true hero is. Someone who is willing to step into a dangerous situation when no one else will and risk their life. All Might standing before the boys who had opened his eyes again. He says that all great heroes have one thing in common. Their bodies moved before their minds could react. The next words to come out of All Might's mouth echo all throughout Midoriya's mind, body, and soul. Once, his mother had told him something he didn't want to hear.
I'm sorry, Izuku. I wish things were different.
The music kicks up. Deku is shown tearing from both eyes as he has fallen to his knees. Everything up until this point has led to this moment. Once a dejected child with a crushed dream, now a hero, brought to his knees after hearing his dreams come to reality.
Young man, you too can become a hero.
This moment is what sold me on the entire show. Even if it went all downhill from here, I would support this series till its rightful conclusion or its abrupt cancellation. Thank you Kohei Horikoshi for this beautiful series, and thank you so much for watching this video.